We talked to 8 presidential candidates on this program during the twists and turns of this strange and unpredictable campaign, pressing them on politics, policy, and, of course, the media. Here's a look back, starting with my first interview with Donald Trump. You are constantly denouncing some journalists who write about you and talk about you. Let me run through it. ABC's Martha Raddatz, unprofessional and biased, you say. NBC's Chuck Todd, a real loser. National Review's Jonah Goldberg, dumb as a rock. Columnist George Will, a total dope. Fox's Charles Kramer, a totally overrated clown. I don't think you really believe that. I think that they criticize you, and your instinct, you're like a boxer, is to punch back. Well, I do punch back. I believe in punching back, but, you know, those are people that I didn't think have treated me fairly. A while ago they said, he's never going to run, he's never going to run. Then I ran. Then he said, oh, he'll never file his papers. And I filed my papers. Now they don't know what to say. And then all of a sudden I get these really big poll numbers, and they're really good. Do you need to develop a thicker skin? You had this rather testy interview with CNBC's Kelly Evans. I found her tone to be condescending, but you got a lot a flack for shushing her.
Let me finish. Hey, let me finish. Hey, Kelly. Hey,
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Calm down a bit here, Kelly. Yeah, I did learn you're not supposed to shush people. And what a lot of people don't realize about an interview, you and I are doing this in the same room, which makes for a better interview, but 95% of my interviews, I don't see the interviewer, and we're always seeing a camera.
Into a camera.
So it's hard sometimes. I can see when you're getting ready to talk, you can see when I'm getting ready to talk, and we try to be polite enough to let each other talk.
I'll interrupt sometimes.
But on TV, when you're looking at a camera, you never get, and it gets frustrating not to butt in.
National Review says you're running a vanity campaign, that it doesn't like the fact that you talk about protecting entitlement programs, talk too much about poverty, and you sound like a liberal.
You know, the funniest thing when somebody says a vanity campaign, they'll say, I don't think Huckabee's serious. I think he's doing this because he wants to get a television show, he wants a book deal, and he wants to help his speeches. And I'm thinking, are you people nuts? I had a television show, I had a book deal, and I was doing all the speeches I could possibly squeeze into my calendar.
I've heard you say that the media stereotype Republicans as either being stupid or evil, but there's a new category for you, which is crazy. But are you saying, I mean, that's a pretty heavy charge. Are you saying this is true of all journalists, of many journalists, of most journalists?
It's true of an awful lot. You know, look, the mainstream media is not fair and impartial. They have served, I believe, as the Praetorian Guard protecting Barack Obama in this presidency. And I think no one is more ready for Hillary than the mainstream media.
Your campaign sent an email to supporters that said the mainstream media is doing everything they can to keep Carly out of the debate because they know Carly is Hillary's fiercest and most effective critic. First of all, it's CNN, not the whole mainstream media, but that suggests that CNN it was targeting you and didn't want you on that stage.
Well, you know, when you looked at the rules and the fact that there was only one candidate who was disadvantaged so severely by their original set of rules, when you looked at the situation and saw that there was only one candidate that moved from the bottom 7 into the top 10, indeed the top 3, it's hard to walk away from a conclusion that somehow I was being disadvantaged.
You've used words like garbage and lies and smear to describe the recent wave of stories about your past. Are you saying that organizations like Politico and CNN and the Wall Street Journal are deliberately trying to damage you?
Yes.
Why?
To put it simply, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Why?
Because, you know, when you deliberately lie and you put that out as a story, or you do shabby investigation and you say, we've investigated and we can't find anything. I mean, is that an acceptable standard? I mean, you're in the media. Is that acceptable?
There's been a lot of media focus on your finances. You cashed in an IRA. You bought an $80,000 boat. There was the business about repaying a few personal charges on a Republican Party credit card, which you settled in years ago in Florida. Do you sometimes feel like you're penalized for not being wealthy?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, well, it's not about penalized. I just don't. I think it's absurd, right? Mitt Romney was too rich to be president, but I'm not rich enough. I mean, that's silly. The truth is, my finance, especially not anymore, but maybe my first 10 or 15 years of my marriage, looked a lot more like the people I represent than the people that I serve with. The only debt I have is my home in Miami, which 4 blocks from the house that I grew up in. That's the true analysis. And you're not, I mean, again, the media is not just driven by bias, it's also driven by conflict. I mean, they want there to be a scandal or a story.
It seems to me that you are going out of your way not to criticize your Republican rivals. Understandably, you're keeping your ammunition trained on Hillary Clinton and on President Obama. But I wonder if it's because you feel like, well, maybe I've got an outside shot at winning the nomination and I don't want to rough anybody up in the process.
No, it's because I want to beat Hillary Clinton. And so I'm going to talk about and be focused on Hillary Clinton as the adversary we have to beat to get to the White House.
But for you to have a chance to face off against Hillary Clinton, you've got a lot of other people in this race on your party that you have to beat, and it seems to some people like because you're a bit of a political brawler, like you're pulling your punches.
No, not pulling my punches. You know, sometimes, you know, in politics, you need to take the driver out and use the driver. Sometimes you need to use the pitching wedge. You know, that's called strategy. It's not called pulling your punches.
It wouldn't matter if I were Abe Lincoln doing the debate. Krauthammer will say negative. It wouldn't matter if I was William Jennings Bryant, because they say he was great. Unfortunately, we don't have too many tapes, right? But it wouldn't matter who I was. They have their critique written up about me long before the debate even takes place.
But does it help?
Look, they're dishonest people. So
dishonest because they disagree with you.
Yeah, and it's good when I fire them. First of all, it makes me feel good. Second of all, it takes away credibility. You have to fight for yourself. That's the problem with our country. We don't fight for ourselves.
Quite a range of political personalities there, and we hope to bring you more of these interviews in 2016.